was here, and they were here to win this game, and they pulled through with it.
He had a couple field goals blocked. Ideally, you're not getting into that situation. You're trying to get your offense doing more. But that was a tough one. The Warriors will fall to 1-2. Wisconsin Lacrosse improves to 3-0. This was one that, Paul Winters is going to look at the film, and they're going to see some things. They're going to make some changes. I assume, not personnel-wise, just some adjustments. But that was a tough one. He's going to have a lot to look at and a lot of things to correct during this week leading up to their next game. Right now, what he's going to do is talk to Tony Ortiz. Let's send it down. T.O., what have you got?
What cost us the game?
Penalties, not so much. I mean, we had some, but it was just our lack of execution and our lack of toughness. I thought it was more, they out-toughed us. That fourth quarter and the second quarter, you would think they had the win. They didn't use the win. They just stuffed the ball in our throat.
You had the good drive to start off the third quarter. It looked like you had momentum swinging your way, and then they came back and kind of took that momentum away.
Well, they took the field goal off the board.
Right.
That was crushing because, it's a phantom call. But you got to respond. And I knew going into this game we were young and we were going to make a lot of mistakes, but it's part of our growth,
You had a couple of mistakes on special teams as well, the 2 blocked field goals.
Yeah, it was low kicks.
Let me close out with 2 good things. You had good play today from Elijah Folks, the freshman, and you also had good play from Matt Bushman. Is that something you can build on going in the next week and maybe beyond?
Do we have a choice?
I don't think you have a choice.
Don't have a choice.
But it was still good.
Yep.
Coach, thanks for the time.
All right, thank you.
Coach Paul Winters joining us down here on the sidelines. Rod and Joe, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Tony. And you know what? That's the hardest thing for a football coach to say is that his team got out-toughed.
Yeah, and that's what we always say is that Paul Winters gives you the real. He's not going to sugarcoat anything for you. And it's, do we have a choice? No, because you have a game next week, and it's not just any game. You're playing Grand Valley next week, and so you got to get right back up. This is a tough one to swallow, but you just got to move on from it.
The offense, we talked about this at halftime. They really didn't have a good first half.
Mm-hmm.
Warriors only had 1 offensive touchdown.
Right.
So he knew he had to make adjustments there. The defense was keeping them in it, but they were bending. And if you're Wisconsin Lacrosse, you had to be looking at things saying, we're moving the ball on these people.
Yeah.
Just stop turning it over.
Yeah.
And from their standpoint, if you're Coach Janis and those guys, you're going, this shouldn't have been this close.
Yeah. Yeah, because of those turnovers and then the interception down at the end gave Wayne State a chance. And I think, again, I'm not a coach. I have a headset, but I'm not a coach. I think I would have gone Wildcat there and just tried to run something that they hadn't been able to stop for most of the game. But you're going with your quarterback. Quarterback makes a bad throw, and they get a pick, and they're able to put this game away.
There were a lot of highlights. It was a fun game to watch. If you didn't have a rooting interest in this, it was really entertaining. We're going to look at some of the highlights now. Start with the first half. Hey, Wisconsin Lacrosse had marched down the field. Matt Bushman put a stop to that, picking it off in the end zone. And the Warriors really dodged a bullet with that.
Yeah, and that was you felt fortunate, and you knew defensively they had just made one big play, and could they tack onto it offensively? They did.
Myron Harris, his first of his 2 touchdowns, 15 carries for 66 yards today for him. Also had a catch for 8 yards. Second quarter, there's that true freshman, 49-yard pick 6, Elijah Folks.
Yeah, he had a monster game today. He and Bushman really stood out on the defense, and though they didn't get the stops they needed, those guys were able to get all 3 of the interceptions.
Bushman had 6 tackles. Credit Julius Wilkerson, he had 9. And then look at this.
That's a big play in this game.
Man.
That's a big play in this game.
Just eludes the defender long enough to get it to Cam Sorensen, and then able to throw the fade to Jack Studer. That was Hilterbrand throwing that one. Studer in the corner. And all of a sudden, all right, this time they don't end up with the turnover. They get themselves in the end zone.
And they just kept things going there. This little swing out to Schultz here, and he's able to get it in the end zone. And you just felt like from that point that Lacrosse was not going to go away. They had that 14-point deficit, and they just chewed right away at it.
I mean, that's their backup tight end doing that. And then you've got this 40-yard run by Helterbrand. I mean, the guy was all over the field today. He ended up rushing for 71 yards and that touchdown right there.
Right, and just their ability inside, and that if you're Wayne State, that's what you're disappointed in, is that in the middle, you felt like you just got pushed around a little bit too much.
Warriors screen pass to Myron Harris. There was a flag at the end of it, got him more yards. And then the quick flare out, Kendall Williams, he's going to pick up some extra yards, get it down inside the 20-yard line. This is the opening drive of the second half. This is when the Warriors need to get something going. Wildcat, this is what you wanted to see more of. Myron Harris taking it to the outside, got it into the end zone for his second touchdown of the game. Warriors are back at it.
Right, they were so effective in that Wildcat look, and just come the fourth quarter, you're driving and you get stopped, and then you get this blocked field goal.
You get one blocked field goal, and then you get another. And don't forget, Coach mentioned it, there was that procedure call. On that play, they made that field goal. As it is, phantom call or not, that didn't count. The 2 blocks did. And then Garcia, across his body, Stutzman, after blocking, releases downfield, catches that ball. That's a big first down. And then Garcia, looking to the corner, all by himself. That's Ryan Bartol. First catch of the year, first touchdown of the year, obviously. Warriors trying to keep things going.
Yeah, make something out of nothing, and
couldn't do it. Charlie Kramer with his second pick of the year.
Yeah, and that was what salted the game away right there, and the Crosse is able to hold on and take a nice victory for them on the road, playing up against a Division II school, and they're able to get the win here.
Yeah, and again, they showed why they're the number 11 team in the country in Division III. I like their chances of moving up in the rankings.
Yeah, move up in the rankings, but more so it's the experience. And you said they were able to practice at Ford Field, come on the road and have an experience like this for those kids. That's a big weekend for them.
Yeah, and that's a long bus ride here. And I'm not sure if they came down from the UP or if they went through Chicago. Either way, it's a long ride. You can't get the bus on the ferry.
Well, it'll be a quicker trip back than it was to get here.
Much quicker trip and a much more fun trip back. Not a fun trip to the dorms tonight for the Warriors. They fall to 1-2. Wisconsin Lacrosse improves to 3-0. That'll wrap it up from Tom Adams Field. For Tony Ortiz, for Rod Beard, for our producer-director Mike Johnson, for our entire hard-working crew at CN 900, I'm Joe Abramson. Thank you for watching Warrior Football on CN 900.